people are saying that Liam was pushed. People are saying that, you know, he would never commit suicide, you know, like all this kind of stuff, and really focusing in on this hotel. I can tell you there was some news that broke this week. I was reading about it. There's actually CCTV footage of Liam's fall. This is according to, this is according to a journalist. Her name's Paula Verla, and apparently she is claiming that there is video footage of this from the hotel, and she is claiming that the singer had fainted on the balcony.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. Over there is Dax Holt. My name is Adam Glyn, two entertainment news journalists with a lot of experience who have broke some of the biggest stories you've seen in the world. I'd say
your biggest story. What's going to be written on your gravestone? Which one did you break that goes down in the history books?
None. None. I just say it just to. I say that just so we get the credit. No, I don't know. Which story did I break? It's like. Honestly, dude, it's so hard. I wish my biggest regret, Dax, I don't know if you feel like this, is like if I wrote almost like a journal in period time, so I knew the years that I did it, because I'd done so much. And I say it's not as a jerk, but I did a lot. So it's hard for me to even remember some of the stories I broke or my experience with some of these people. It's almost like memory lane when someone says a name, like, oh, remember this? I always have a story. I was playing golf the other day with some guys. I sound such a wasp, even though I'm not. But I was like, I played golf. And they're like, you have so many stories. I just turned like an old man with my stories, because it's like a way of me thinking about some of the experiences I had with these stories.
So that's going to be a really long tombstone. I don't know if you know. Adam broke a lot of stories, but then, you know, thinks about them and tells stories. Which one? Which one that goes on your tombstone? The man behind blank story. I
mean, I would probably say my most favorite one, just because the way I did it, it took a few days going back and forth, and I saw the buildup, was the Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather fight. I mean, to me, that was like the funniest one, just because I saw like the writings on the wall and what was going on, and I just kept on throwing gas into the fire.
So it's going to say Adam Glyn, instigator of the biggest fight.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think
we got it. We got it.
Exactly.
We narrowed it down. Mine, obviously, I would say Michael Jackson's passing, even though it's not like a happy story. It's probably one of the biggest stories of all time, that news story. So there's mine. Dax Holt, asshole who talks about all celebrity deaths.
Yeah.
Do you know I broke the Macho Man one too?
No. Oh my God, you broke Macho Man?
Yeah. I thought you would appreciate that, being a big old wrestling fan.
No, it actually hurt me. And I'm like, dude, you're the one who did that to my life? I didn't even know.
He was in a car crash. I just broke the news to the world.
Yeah, but that was a big one. That's like one of those guys who I wish I met. Like, it sounds really weird, but like he's just like an iconic figure, an interesting guy. I think it'd be really cool to say I've met Macho Man, which if Macho Man was still with us, I think he'd be as big a celebrity as Hulk Hogan. I think he was just one of those guys that was just a very unique and interesting guy that people wanted to like be around their experience. I don't think he'd turn into like a Mr. T, where actually, and nothing against Mr. T.
Half of our female audience, they all pieced out halfway through your comments.
I know. Here's how I'm going to get them back. You know what, Dex? Here's how I'm going to get her from. I was watching on my social media, my TV, and I saw they do those little desk concerts. Have you seen those things?
Yeah, like NPR or whatever it is.
Yeah, NPR does these little desk concerts, and Dua Lipa did it.
He's the best, dude.
Dua Lipa, she is not the best singer.
She's a great singer. Why would you say that?
No, she's not the best singer. If you put all the female singers out there, she's not iconic. She's not, I think she's second tier, in my opinion, compared to the other ones. However, she has the most charisma. She's so charming that you fall for her. I'm like, oh my God, she is so good.
She has such a good stage presence. Like, she puts on a hell of a performance. I haven't seen this little desk one that you're talking about, But whenever I see her at an award show and she's dancing, I'm like, I feel like your eyes get glued to the television because she is just so good at commanding the camera, commanding the stage. Just she is a true like star in that regard, I would say.
Yeah, she was just, she's one of those people you really, she's beautiful, obviously, but she's just the way she performs, and she's so confident with her performance, and she has this like smirk and charm to her where it's like, you know, you talk about it factor, and she has an it factor, you know, similar to what I always said about Miley Cyrus. Like Miley Cyrus, like when you meet her, like, oh man, this girl walks in a room, she's it. She's it. And Dua Lipa and this concert's like, and again, I don't think she's the best singer, and I think she would even admit that, like compared to some of the other vocalists out there. But when it comes to actual performing, she's subpar. She's above par. She's probably one of the best out there.
You know what? I was talking to my wife this week, and she brought up, and my wife's not like a big entertainment person. She doesn't care. But a Miley Cyrus song came on the radio, and she goes, you know what? People don't give Miley enough credit for getting through her teenage years and like coming out on top. You know, we see all these other people like, you know, that have had big struggles with mental health or drugs or substance abuse. Like, you know, Britney Spears still struggling, Amanda Bynes struggling. And she's like, but Miley had this like great trajectory, then kind of hit a really bumpy spot in the road and then came back. And she is, I would say, on top of the world. The woman has an amazing voice. I mean, it's very raspy and unique, very amazing voice. She's got a good stage presence, and she weathered it. And that's not easy to do. Like you see, it's hard for these child actors or child singers and stars to make it through all the shit that they have to go through. You know, Justin Bieber just constantly raked over the coals in the media, but yeah, she's done a good job.
Let me ask you this, Dex. Ariana Grande right now is somewhat in the news again. What I mean in the news, she's just started in the public eye. She just did Saturday Night Live. She has a movie coming out. Is she looked at the same way she was a few years back when she was dating Pete Davidson and engaged to Pete Davidson, but also kind of just because she was, before she was, you know, married to her with this other guy she's dating now, this guy Ethan, this other actor. Has her trajectory kind of went down? Has it maintained, or has it went up? Because I don't know, 3 years ago, I thought Ariana Grande was like, oh my God, like this girl, whoever's doing her PR, like she's everywhere. And I personally, like, I didn't really see it. I was like, I don't understand the appeal of her that much. Do I think she's talented? 1000%. But I didn't think she was worthy of the attention and praise that she was getting. She could sing. Don't get me wrong.
I think she was just out and about and getting the attention. And then I think she disappeared for a while because she was filming Wicked, is really what it comes down to. Like she was out of the States. She was over in the UK. She was just kind of out of the spotlight for a little while. And I think that's why the attention like calmed down, and she's more like, you know, focused on her relationship. She's coming back out because she's doing press again. And Ariana knows how to do press. She knows how to write songs to get people's attention. She knows the right things to do to stay in the news. But I don't think she's waned. I don't think her fame has waned at all. I just think she wasn't as, you know, documented as she has in the past.
Yeah. Speaking of like writing songs, I mean, Shawn Mendes did a show. Did you see this where Shawn Mendes he was doing a concert in the Red Rocks in Colorado. And during venue. Have you seen a show?
I saw Dave Matthews there.
No, you saw Dave Matthews at Red Rocks? How was that?
It was my first concert ever. Try to top that one, bitch.
Wow, that's really cool. Do you get this sounds such a stupid question, but the way it's built, the Red Rocks amphitheater.
The way it's built, you mean how God built it?
Yeah. But like, do you get seats there, or is it just like you get a seat, you just run and just trying to find a place to sit?
So I'm trying to remember, God, because I'm pretty sure it was marked, but it's all just like almost like benches, like not seats, but it's because you can run the stairs. I remember when I was younger, we would go there because everyone wanted to see Red Rocks, but you can actually run from the bottom all the way up to the top. Like there's not backs on the chairs. So it's legit an amphitheater. But I'm pretty sure there's rows, and I think it's marked off if I remember, and they may have changed it since I was last there.
Yeah.
But you I think you pay more and you can be down in the front. I don't think it's like first come first serve kind of thing.
Yeah,
At least on the big concerts.
Looks really cool. But Shawn Mendes performed there, and he did some songs. He's got a new album going out. And during the concert, he says, "The real truth about my life and my sexuality is, man, I'm just figuring it out like everyone. I just don't really know sometimes, and I know other times," which, there's been a lot of speculation on to
why is he leaning in? He's doing this on purpose. He's written a song now, and he says in there whether I like guys or whether I like girls, whatever the lyrics said. And now he's like talking about, I think he's leaning into this for some publicity. I don't know if he's trolling or if he's getting people's curiosity or what the plan is behind this.
So you think it's a PR thing?
But I think it's a smart move. Like, you pique the curiosity of everyone and you grow your fan base by double.
Well, he also says, I think it's just silly because I think sexuality is a beautifully complex thing, and it's so hard to just put into boxes, which, doesn't really help out his side. I don't know. I guess speculation. Dude, I guess it brings in possibly new fans.
I'm telling you, this is a smart move on Shawn Mendes' part, because if you don't fully come out and say whether you're gay or straight, and you've got people questioning and people talking about it, you've got that big gay audience that is like totally interested and fawning all over you. You got the straight audience fawning all over you. So I think that this is a strategic move on his part. And it's not like he's saying one way or another. So it's not like it's negative on either side. It's just, hey, I'm out here questioning just like the rest of us.
Hey, Dex, growing up, were you and your friends, did you guys ever just say, hey, man, let's go explore sexuality? Like, I just don't know who even speaks like that. It's such like a weird, we'll get into sexuality later. All right, before we get more into the podcast, we read reviews on the podcast. Why do we do it? Because we want to give back and just give you guys a little shout out to some people who take the time to give us a few kind words. Because when you do give us a few kind words on our podcast charts where we listen to the podcast, it helps us out in the algorithm. We're not a Patreon. We don't ask for money. The only thing we do is ask for reviews. 8 seconds of your time to give us 5 stars and say a few kind words. And when you do that, we shout you out on the show. Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
Yes, this one is from Apple Podcasts on our show page. It is a 5-star review from Wea32. It says, the best. Lisa from Bodega Bay, California. You guys are so consistent. I know it takes a lot of work to put on such an amazing podcast. Please realize that you are appreciated. I look forward to listening to you guys every week, and I know there are many more people that feel the same. Your hard work is paying off. Keep it going.
Very nice.
I wish the hard work paid off in my wallet, but I will take the special hangout time that I get with Adam and all of you folks.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time. A few kind words, and we'll read it. All right, Dex. We wanted to get into a few things today. A few things.
It's just like, there's so much going on in the news, and I'm like, we need to hold off on a guest for today because I feel like there's so much happening right now that I'm like, okay, we need to talk about the big stories because every day there's something new, and it can't wait for the Raw rundown this on Friday. We need to get into it now because the news is changing so quickly. So I wanted to first talk a little bit about a couple updates in the Sean Diddy story. There's 2 new lawsuits that have come forward. They were filed on Monday, one from a 10-year-old boy and the other from a 17-year-old. Well, that was their age at the time when he apparently had some interactions with them. And this was back in like the mid 2000s. So keep in mind, Combs is still currently sitting in jail on allegations of sex trafficking, racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution. But he's now facing 2 new accusations involving drugs and sexual assault against minors. So this all happened on Monday. 2 men sued him in Supreme Court of New York, and they're alleging that he drugged and sexually assaulted them when they were 10 and 17-year-old. Both filed under identities of John Doe per the court documents. So they named him and Diddy's house recordings, Combs Global and Combs Bad Boy Companies. So one of the accusers alleged that he was I guess he met Combs back at an audition in 2005 when he was 10 years old. His parents flew him to Los Angeles. or from Los Angeles to New York to have a meeting. And it happened like in a hotel. So he says that when he was 10, he was in this hotel. He was a child. He was dropped off by a consultant of his parents who his parents had hired. And once he was there, he alleges that he said Combs would make him a star and asked him how badly he wanted it. He alleged that someone else in the hotel room gave him a soda, and he began to feel a little funny after drinking it. He claims Combs or someone on Combs' staff laced the drink with drugs, such as GHB or ecstasy. And then the accuser alleges that Combs forced him to perform oral sex and threatened him that he was going to harm his parents if he told anyone. And so he also claims that he lost consciousness, and when he woke up crying, and anus and his buttocks hurt badly. Well, I said buttocks really weird, didn't I? Buttocks. And his pants were undone. He adds that he told his parents, but they were terrified with the potential consequences of reporting the abuse. This is really sad. If there is any truth behind this, that's really sad. So the second complaint, there's someone accusing him of sexual assault when he was 17 years old, and this was around 2008. The assault allegedly occurred while he was a teen auditioning for MTV's reality show Making the Band, where he was where aspiring musicians went to compete for a spot. You remember that show. In the complaint, Diddy is accused of masturbating himself while groping the teen during a private one-on-one interview on the first day of auditions. The complaint alleges that on the second day of auditions, Diddy forced him to perform oral sex on him and his bodyguard. After the alleged assault, Diddy allegedly told the teen he would keep an eye on him. After sensing his discomfort with what happened, the teen was eventually eliminated from the competition. So obviously, Diddy's lawyers are saying there's no merit to this. This is just more BS floating around, that they are not. He is maintaining his innocence. So
Dex, is this, here's what else, and this is just from conversations I've had with people. People always say, why are these people coming out of the woods now with these stories? Why, after all these years, do everyone feel like, hey, they're going to jump on it? The other thing that people are asking me, and I was hoping maybe you'd have the answers, are these people looking for punishments for Diddy for his actions, or are they looking for a money grab?
It could be either, but I think what it comes down to is there's strength in numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you're the one person out there. Diddy is a billionaire. He is super powerful. And I think most people would be afraid to come forward. That, like, it's you versus, Goliath over here. And so they probably kept it to themselves. I think it's like the same thing as Tiger Woods. The second the news starts breaking and more people are coming forward, you're like, cool, this is my moment. I'm going to go tell my story now. And I don't know if I just want to tell people and give validity to the other lawsuits, or I'm looking for money, or whatever the case is. But maybe they just want their story told.
These people want their story told. They're, because, again, I'm just going from I'm not trying to defend Diddy. I'm just going by what other people are saying. So, yes, more cases against Diddy. What are your thoughts for the future of this case? Does this really help out, put him away for a long, long time?
Listen,
or it's just...
I think with any of these, they'd have to go.
At what point do we just say, all right, there's enough, all right, guys, we have enough people talking? Or do
you don't know
forward?
Because we've also seen this before in the past, where it's almost like it becomes like cool to throw your name into the hat. And so you don't always know if people are telling the truth, right? Like, I'm sure there is truth within all of this.
Sure.
And then I think that there's probably people making stuff up too, because people are weird. So each one has to be tried individually, I would say. No one is guilty until proven guilty in court. So, he's got to defend himself, and we'll see how this whole thing plays out. But I mean, it's not looking good when you have so many people coming forward saying they had a pretty gnarly interaction with you.
How many people, Dex, do you think went to a Diddy party knowing that this stuff went on, and they could possibly be... If you knew stuff like this was going on, do you think people still went for the experience, or just because they wanted to say they went to a Diddy party and be in that? I'm
sure there's a lot of people that wanted to go to a Diddy party knowing that it was some kind of weird sex fest. I'm sure. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was probably the intriguing part of it, is you hear the rumors of a Diddy party. you may not know like the gnarly side of it. You may just hear like, oh yeah, people are having sex with each other. Not that there's minors involved, not there's prostitution involved, not that kind of stuff. But I'm sure people wanted to see what it was all about.
I'm curious if Hugh Hefner was still with us. We had Crystal Hefner, his last wife, on the podcast. But if Hugh Hefner was still around, how would the public treat Hugh Hefner? Would they really go hard on him? Would they still allow him to have parties like this? Because he only died a few years ago, but a few years ago he was still kind of, hanging out. He still
wasn't going to the parties anymore, though.
No, but the parties were still happening for the most part. He still had a very.
I don't think anyone would treat him any different. I mean, we knew the difference is Hugh Hefner became famous because that was his lifestyle. Like, he had these parties. He was Playboy. He was the sex industry. Whereas Diddy came into the industry being a musician or a rapper and a mogul and behind a record label. Like, it's a different way to come in, True.
People
accepted that with Hugh Hefner.
You know what, Dax? The one thing I have to say for us is it's crazy how much we talked about, obviously, since it happened, we've been kind of really going big on the Liam Payne death. What happened, went down. We've kind of been relaying the facts, what we've read in the news, and the conspiracies that are coming out regarding this case. Listen, I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I don't wear the tinfoil hat, but people are making some valid points with this. And I'm like, whoa, they're right. And the first thing that we talked about, and Dax, you know this because you've been a part of this too, is the first red flag for us was the reports, the toxicology, the toxicology reports.
Yeah, just how quickly they came back and how, like, it seemed weird. Like, what is this hotel covering up? Why, a death of a superstar and this hotel just seemed like it was being super shady. And I was reading through a lot of our comments on our YouTube page of just how, like, people are saying that Liam was pushed. People are saying that, he would never commit suicide, like all this kind of stuff, and really focusing in on this hotel. I can tell you there was some news that broke this week. I was reading about it. There's actually CCTV footage of Liam's fall. This is according to a journalist. Her name's Paula Varela, and apparently she is claiming that there is video footage of this from the hotel, and she is claiming that the singer had fainted on the balcony, and that they're not releasing this footage, obviously, but the authorities are keeping it secret, according to her. And she is saying that it shows how he was too close to the balcony, lost consciousness, and fell over. And she claims that if he would have lost consciousness next to his bed, he would have landed on his bed, but he fell over. Hence the reason why when he hit the ground, there was no signs of him trying to protect himself, because he was in a complete state of total unconsciousness. And so there's a lot of focus right now on this employee who works at the hotel, or who worked at the hotel, and because they had struck up some kind of close relationship. And now the focus of the investigation is really on this person who potentially could have supplied him with the drugs and contribute to his death. So what I was reading was that, number one, there's the footage that they're not releasing, which is obviously gnarly, but that it shows that he did not.
But Dax, hold on. Should they release the footage?
No.
No. Okay.
No. But I think that what this CCTV footage would show was that he didn't jump deliberately. And I think that this also would calm down a lot of people, knowing that he wasn't pushed either, because that is the other big conspiracy. I'm telling you, I was reading, a lot of people think Liam was pushed off the balcony. But if there is CCTV footage, like they're saying, it would show that he did not get pushed, that he fell unconscious. And I guess the footage is in official case files. And so, the interesting thing was this employee who worked there was urged not to have a relationship or a friendship with him, but he disobeyed the order from hotel management. And so what that looks like, whether he was given stuff or supplied stuff, whatever the case is, this could get this employee in a lot of trouble. And now the employee is suspended.
Yeah, I mean, but he's been suspended. They know he's been arrested?
No,
Not
no
arrested,
arrest.
just suspended,
No arrest.
just because
they're just and the person.
It's bizarre. Honestly, it's bizarre that like, hey, we think we know the guy. He hasn't been arrested yet. We're just trying to feel him out. And like this guy's, the whole thing is kind of bizarre to me.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why everyone is freaking out about it. They want answers. A lot of these stories, though, what you forget is all these news stories start out the same years over years. Like Heath Ledger, you're just like, oh shit, like woke up, you know, he was found dead in his room. And it takes time. You forget all the weeks that lead up to getting an answer. And when the toxicology results come back and then like everything comes out, you look back and you're like, oh, this is exactly what happened. But you forget all the stories that led up to understanding the true reality of what went down that day.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's so funny? This morning, actually, a One Direction song came on, Night Changes. And I was like, man, that was a great song. I wasn't like the craziest One Direction fan by any means. I wasn't really even a fan. But that one song was, I thought, a great song. And I was thinking about it, so I was like, man, that's crazy that, you know, you never really hear this song with all the guys again. And
well, you see that you're going to hear Liam Payne's voice again because they're releasing a new song. This was really interesting. One of his collaborators, Sam Pounds, announced he's going to be releasing their duet, Do No Wrong, November 1st. And this is going to be his first track released after his death. I don't know how people feel about this. I mean, I guess people are excited to hear more music from him. But kind of weird, right? Like so quickly after he dies that his collaborator's like, cool, let's get this out there because now's the moment that it's going to make a lot of money. And then now's the moment that everyone's going to listen to it.
Sure. But there was a report that came out just a few hours ago that Liam Payne, this is not the first time he's had experience with drugs per se. There's a report in New York Post, an exclusive story saying that Liam Payne overdosed and had to be resuscitated at least once, not too long ago. In fact,
no, it was a few years ago.
A few years ago. I'm sorry, a few
sources, yeah.
But that's not too. When I say it's not too long ago.
But
I mean,
not only that, there was another
twice in the past insider. He's OD'd.
Yeah, twice in the past that, and this is according to that source. So, which is weird that we've never heard of it. You know what I'm saying? And that he ended up having to go to rehab, having to do the whole thing. I'm just surprised all of that was kind of kept under wraps so well.
So Dax, hearing all we did some videos on TikTok that kind of blew up. We've read our reports. What do you think went down that night with Liam Payne? I mean, as far as what we know, do you think he just got drugs from a hotel employee? He hallucinated and jumped off the balcony and, or was it suicide?
I just told you. They said they've got footage of it. No, I think my assessment of what happened was he was supplied gnarly drugs, got super high, and from my best guesstimation here, again, this is me guessing, I think he was probably standing on the balcony and fainted, like they're saying, fainted and fell off. And then I don't think there was a push. I don't think there was any of that based on the fact that someone is saying that they've seen the video of him standing there. And this was a third party, not someone at the hotel, not someone who worked for the hotel that has the hotel in their best interest. This is a journalist who lives down in Argentina who got their hands on the tape and was able to see it and say, I can tell you he wasn't pushed. That's how I'm feeling right now. Again, we have to wait for it all to unfold, but that is my guess.
Yeah, I agree with what you would say. That's my feeling on it. Bad drugs, bad experience, and unfortunately,
listen, I know that he's struggled with mental health. He struggled with drugs. He had talked about suicide in the past, but I think in this situation, I'm going to chalk it up to the thing that takes most celebrities away from us, and that's drugs. I think it's unfortunately one of the biggest killers, and we've had to report on so many celebrities passing away because of drug abuse or even just accidental overdoses because of prescription medication. It takes too many lives, guys. Stay away from that shit. Don't get into drugs. All right.
One thing I want to get into, I think something, I don't know what your feelings are, but it's actually a story that we kind of are just not really trying or planning to get into, but it's just become so big, and especially in the entertainment news world today, where it's kind of goes in between entertainment news and real news, and we always try to stay away from real news. We kind of go into try to focus mostly on pop culture news. Is the Menendez brothers? The Menendez brothers are potentially going to be out of jail soon. And I think it's very unique. You know, obviously Kim Kardashian met with them recently. She kind of put in her comments and thoughts into it, saying she thought they deserved to be free. Very controversial opinion. The show that just came out, the Monster Show, which was a success. I watched it, Dax. I don't know if you watched some of it, but I didn't think it was the best perception of these guys. I mean, obviously it started one way, and this case came out, the Menendez brothers, when this story came out, I don't remember the case. I remember it, but I don't remember it. I remember the details of the case I wasn't really familiar with or aware. And then I watched the show and kind of re-educated me a little bit on this specific case. And then I watched, you know, from watching the show, I was like, man, these guys are guilty. Like, they're just like rich kids who killed their parents. But now I feel like the support for them to be free has been
wild. And
Rosie O'Donnell, I saw, now Kim,
everyone,
a lot of people are throwing their
but the fact that this show has now sparked the interest of like the lawsuit, or you know, the case, not even lawsuit, the case, I'm sorry, but now the LADA is open to change the conviction and to be able to get them out of jail, which is wild in my opinion. And so, yeah, I guess they're opening to considering a change in conviction that would set the brothers free. And all they got to do is basically convince the judge at this point. But I can tell you the LA County DA has filed legal docs asking the judge to resentence the Menendez brothers at a November hearing. If that happens, the brothers would be eligible for immediate parole, but would require I guess, a ruling by the California parole board. This is huge. Their attorney, Mark Garagos, which is crazy because that they can have Mark Garagos as their attorney because he's one of the biggest law attorneys in, you know, he was the one that was representing Chris Brown in the Rihanna case. I mean, he's done some massive cases. So he's going to ask the judge to change their conviction from murder to voluntary manslaughter. And under the new law, the judge would have the power to do so. If this were to happen, Eric and Lyle would be free men because the maximum sentence is 11 years and they've served 35. None of this would have been possible without the new show. Like, that's really what it comes down to. No one would be focusing on the Menendez brothers. It all comes down to this television show, Monsters, that is giving them a second chance at life, really.
Well, to me, it's just wild what's going on in entertainment news now, or just the world today, where these people like Gypsy Rose, now the Menendez brothers, are becoming like stars. Like, they have fans and these are people who killed their parents. Not saying I should say not. I don't know what to think of this. It's just weird. Incredible that people are walking up and like, oh, there's Gypsy Rose. Can I get a photo with you? And they're making money and they're doing well. And we're covering them every week. They're not on real news. They're on entertainment news shows now. It's just,
there is a weird
thing, and I can't figure it out.
Yeah, there's a weird fascination with people who have killed their parents right now, and people being on their side because they survived like crazy child abuse, and somehow like people are going, okay, well that gives you reason to kill. I don't think it gives you reason to kill. I think we need to focus on the system and how these parents were able to get away with it, and that kind of situation. But I go back to this show. The show is fantastic. The two actors, I think, are phenomenal actors.
Incredible.
I think that they will end up getting Emmys or something. I don't know what, because only one of them's going to have to get the lead role, or I guess you got to get supporting, whatever. I think that these two guys will walk away with awards for this. I think this is going to blow up their careers. That one episode where it was Cooper Koch, the guy who's playing Eric, it was a one take. Did you see this?
It was
The entire
long
episode
take.
was one take, and it was a 30-minute episode of him sitting and talking to the lawyer. They did not move the camera once. It was just focused on him the entire time, and they didn't mess up. I don't know how they did this. I haven't seen this. It was wild.
Funny when I was watching that episode, I was like, am I tripping right now? Like, why hasn't the camera switched or the angle changed? And it was just, it was very bizarre, but very well done. Actually, I kind of liked how they did that shot because I don't know if you want to get into the theater, the film aspect. I loved like in the movie Birdman with Michael Keaton, where they always kept the camera was always running and kind of got stuff, and that shot kind of reminded me of Birdman. Now that gets into the.
Have you ever seen that though? Like a half hour straight in a show where they don't cut away. I don't think I've ever seen that, and I think that is part of why Ryan Murphy is so successful. He's obviously the guy behind the Monsters show, the director, because he does stuff like this that catches your attention. And even I remember when my wife looked at me, she's like, "Why are they not cutting away?" I'm like, "Because it's pulling you in. You're realizing that this is a really intense moment where he's talking all about the sexual abuse, and they're not cutting away." And it's just focused on the guy. I mean, I'm telling you, if these guys get out, if Eric and Lyle Menendez get out of jail, they better go have dinner with Ryan Murphy and thank him for getting them out, because he is truly the reason they will be out free. No other reason.
Yeah, no, it's definitely unique, but the show was great. And I mean, I'm curious who's going to get the first interview with them right when these guys do get out of jail, because I think they are going to get out of jail. Do I think they should get out of jail? My personal opinion, I think they served enough time and they think they were pretty good in prison. Like they behaved well enough where I think it's like, okay, let's see what we could do in the outside world. Hopefully you've been rehabilitated enough where you could go out into the world and not be a risk.
All right, we need to move on because I am dying to talk about Tom Cruise having sex with fish.
Yeah, what is this, dude? It's just taking over the internet right now. Tom Cruise having sex with fish. What is this conspiracy? What is this theory behind Tom Cruise's obsession with fish?
This is the weirdest conspiracy. I have been working in Hollywood. You have been working in Hollywood for many, many years now. I have never heard this, and now it has taken over TikTok. It's taken over the world, but basically everyone's talking about these blind items that had popped up like years ago, back in 2020. So I must have missed it the first time around. The initial blind items happened on Crazy Days and Nights, obviously, NT, his website, which is all about blind items. Adam and I, not big in the blind item world, just because we like kind of more of the like factual stuff, I would say. But look, we're also here for a good conspiracy theory, and this one is wild. And so this blind item that had popped up years ago was basically from someone saying that they were inside of a grocery store, and basically a man came in, an A-list actor came in to the fish counter, and he was wearing a mask, two of them, but they obviously could tell that it was Tom. I mean, he's pretty recognizable even with a mask on, and that he purchased a whole sea bass, but was requested that they not wrap it up for him. And then he took the fish into the men's restroom, and he was in there for about 10 minutes. And then when he came out, he no longer had the fish, and they just thought it was really weird. And so then that is what sparked more people sending in other submissions about how they had also seen something similar. And there was another one that said that there was this guy who I guess was in let's see, he had been wearing sunglasses, but definitely based on the nose and the bodyguard next to him, that they recognized that it was him. And he was at the fish counter again, and he was having the person weigh all these different fishes and then asked them not to wrap it up. Kind of same exact thing. Went into the bathroom, was in there for a little bit, came out without the fish, and that they went in and they like rummaged through the trash and found the fish all wrapped up in paper towels, and they just thought it was really weird. Like, why would you buy a fish, go into the bathroom, and then leave? So those are the blind items that have really sparked this whole conspiracy theory that Tom Cruise fucks fish, which is so weird and so ridiculous. But I'm here for it.
I don't know, man. This is just so outrageous. I know they're trying to, the internet has kind of looked at some like past girls he's been with, from Penelope Cruz to Nicole Kidman to rumored Shakira, and they try to put this whole theory behind it. He walks around with 2 masks, but with bodyguards. I don't know.
Here's what I can say. Again, I have my job at TMZ was looking through celebrity photos. I had the access to all the paparazzi agencies out there. I could see the thousands of photos that were submitted every night. And so I could actually go through, and you could type in a name, Tom Cruise, and see all the photos of him. Here's the thing with Tom Cruise. He's never photographed, like, ever. The guy is super reclusive. And I can say, in all of my years at TMZ and going through all the paparazzi photos and going through everything, I don't know if I've ever seen a photo of Tom Cruise like grocery shopping or inside of a grocery store.
Because he doesn't have to go.
Katie Holmes is a different story. Lots of photos of Katie.
She's getting paid to go to Whole Foods with a coconut water.
But you've seen a bunch of photos of her inside grocery stores. You would think that if Tom Cruise was a serial fish fucker, that you would see more grocery store photos of him going up to counters to buy fish, or even like you'd get at least one shot of him inside of a grocery store, right? Like, he is too famous to not get photographed. Someone out there would have taken a photo of him. So I feel like there's no way this could possibly be true.
Speaking of fetishes, Dax,
wait, that's it? We're done? We're moving on? Like, that's your rebuttal? No, I need to know more from you about your thoughts on this.
I've never heard of this fetish with fish. I don't know how I guess you go through the mouth. I don't know what the fascination is. I don't know how you enjoy, it's...
The other part of it...
I don't really want to Google fish porn because I don't know what I'm going to find.
Well, like, if you've ever grabbed, like, a bass, they have little teeth. I'm not talking, they're not shark teeth, but they're rough. Like, it's a rough tooth in there if you grab a fish. How would you have sex with a fish? Like,
you
how
can
is
find
that
a way.
possible? You're going to rip off all the skin if you tried to do that. So that's the other part, is I don't feel like that's possible.
Yeah. Listen, Tom Cruise figure out a way to hijack a plane in Mission Impossible and like fly on a plane outside of it. You know, he's a stunt. This guy's done some incredible things. I'm sure he'll figure out a way to ejaculate through a fish.
I think people just love to make up crap on Tom Cruise. Like, he's too easy of a target. He's kind of weird. He's, you know, there's the Scientology thing. There's too many questions on him, and because he's reclusive, it brings up more questions. So I think it starts to feed to this. Do you remember there was I learned that there was a Simpsons episode years ago that has been removed, but there was a celebrity who was accused of going to aquariums and having sex with a fish. So I don't know if this just triggered.
We're just throwing on it. Come on.
Well, it just triggered this because the celebrity on the show is someone else's name, but maybe that's what triggered this story, and then other people have jumped on. Do I think it's true? No. Do I think it's hilarious and funny? Yes, but I just really can't see there being validity. Why would he go do this in a store? He could easily have one of his bodyguards go pick up fish for him.
Yeah. Do you think he's even aware of these conspiracies about him? And does he even want to address them, or it's just those gas on the fire? Like, all right, guys, he goes on Colbert and goes, let me just set the record straight before we begin. I don't have sex with fish. I'm straight. Like, let's go over all the rumors about me. And he's just he's just like, dude, keep it going, because it adds to the mystery of me.
I gotta imagine that after you've kind of heard it all, you just go, oh, God, here's just another one. But like, I mean, it would be hilarious if you wanted. He's like, look, number one, I just have to acknowledge I don't have sex with fish. I have sex with octopuses.
Speaking of sex with weird things, I do it every year. I go to the porn convention. I just stuttered before. I was like, I don't know how people react. I go every year. It's, you know what? I don't go for the women. Trust me. I don't go for the guys. I go for the freaks that actually go to it. It's so funny, Dax. The people watching at these things are just hysterical. It's just, to me, it's just, you see parts of the world that you never knew existed. Like, where do you guys come out of? What do you guys do in your trailers?
So let me clarify this, because everyone is going to think that you're totally weird right now. But Adam has gone for the last 10 years or something.
15.
Because he goes as a content creator to highlight how weird people are. So he always comes back with the funniest videos of him getting these very interesting characters to do some silly videos with him that highlights just how strange their weird fetishes are. So again, I'm just trying to save your reputation.
Thank you so much, because it
does sound weird, but the videos that you have produced from this convention are some of the funniest videos that I've ever seen.
And speaking of which, Dex, my start in the industry, how I got into this whole business was through porn, through the porn convention specifically, because back in the day, I needed a job. I couldn't find the job. This is back in 2000, I don't know, 8, 9. I couldn't find the job. I couldn't get an interview. I just couldn't get anything. There was nothing going on. And a buddy of mine invited me to this convention. So I thought it'd be funny if I just wrote a fake email to them saying I made up a fake radio station saying I want to cover new technology in the industry. And they actually gave me media credentials. And I went there. I made a video that kind of went big and viral a little bit before videos really went viral, which got it was a great thing to my resume, how I kind of a young kid snuck into a porn convention, was interviewing porn stars. So I was there for honestly probably about an hour every day. No, I'm kidding. I was there for an hour in general, and just walked through and just see some of the monsters. Like, there's one guy, Dax, walking around with a leash around his neck and a dog leash, and that's what he's into. He's wearing this kinky kind of outfit. So I walked to the guy. I was like, "Hey man, can I take a video of me walking you around with a leash?" The guy looked at me like I was the weird one. The guy's like, okay, what's wrong with this guy? I was like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? What is going on here? And then there's people getting spanked on the side, and it's the people get tied up. A lot of BBW people, large, heavy porn stars. I'm like, what is going on? Who is into this stuff? But there's an audience out there, and these people make a lot of money.
Yep.
So I recommend you guys, if the porn convention comes to your neighborhood, I wouldn't say bring your kids, but I'd say bring somebody you trust and go there just to kind of sightsee. And it's
one of my favorite things
you don't see.
One of my favorite things to do is go to the airport and people watch. I love people watching, and this has to be people watching on steroids.
It's another world. It's oh my, you hear about this stuff, but then when you see the people in person, you're like, oh, you do exist. Oh, there is a real thing.
Know that these are things that people would hide behind closed doors, and they're out in a convention center walking around letting everyone in on their deepest, weirdest fetishes.
Yeah. Dude, so bizarre.
Wait, did the guy let you walk him around on the leash or not?
For 40 steps. And then he was like, all right, buddy, get going, scram. I was like, okay, I'll leave you alone. I'll let you kind of enjoy your fest, as I go run out of here in my parking lot and bathe myself in holy water.
So good.
Yeah, it was so funny. I brought a buddy with and we're we had Purell, we just kept washing our hands, wiping our hands the entire time. We were just.
Was there a fish section?
There's no fish section, nor was there anybody talking about Tom Cruise in the fish section. However, business idea, Dax, since you've been on Shark Tank, maybe we get a fish booth for the next porn convention, and we can make a few bucks. And
what about one of those? Those ones that they the little fish that eat the skin off your feet?
Yeah,
we could just do it maybe waist high.
I would be afraid, honestly. Yeah, these people they would try anything. we're all taking advantage of disadvantaged people. It's so bizarre in this thing. It's
so good. Oh my God. I've been doing this whole talk with my daughter wearing a mermaid fishtail right behind me. God, we got to get off.
All right, got to go. All right, Dax. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on Red Coral Universe, thank you for watching on YouTube. Make sure you guys leave us a comment. It's the best thing to do to support this podcast. Find me at Adam Glyn. Find Dax Holt at Dax Holt. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.